Right, if you just joined us, you're still with us. This is still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our main conversation for today. A report by Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) revealed that kidnappers collected 2.2 trillion naira in ransom between 2023 and April of 2024.
The findings from the Crime Experience and Security Perception Survey 2024 showed over 2 million kidnapping incidents nationwide, with rural areas having over 1 million cases experiencing more than urban areas.
The northwestern part of Nigeria had the highest kidnapping incident of 1,420,307 and ransom payments totaling 1.2 trillion naira. In contrast, the southeast recorded the fewest incident of 110,432 persons and the lowest ransom payments of 85.4 billion naira.
On average, households paid 2.7 million naira per kidnapping, with urban households paying higher ransoms of 3.7 million naira than rural areas recording 2.3 million naira.
Over 91% of kidnappings were ransom motivated, while 2.4% had political or criminal objectives and 2.1% stemmed from family disputes. Despite widespread kidnapping, only 80.5% of affected households reported incidents to the police.
And more than half of this household paid ransoms to secure the release of loved ones. The report highlights the growing security challenges, especially in rural areas, emphasizing the urgent need for improved law enforcement and security measures nationwide.
All right, so let's have a conversation also. We still have with us Dr. Olayinka Oyegbile and Emeka Madunagu. Thank you, gentlemen, for hanging on. We truly do appreciate you. But I'd love to start with you, Dr. Oyegbile. Don't you think this is washing our deity leaning in the outside? It's so very unfortunate and equally very sad that we're having this conversation when the world and the need for foreign direct investment is very important to our economy today. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I don't know what you meant by washing our dirty linen outside, but the truth of the matter is that these are things that you need to know, that you need to let people know. Don't forget, the NDS is a government agency. So if the government agency is coming out to say we spend so much on ransom payment, the question I want to ask is, where did all this money come from? We just spoke a while ago about restriction of cash and all that. All these monies are not paid
as transfer
in cash. They are not paid through transfers. They are paid in cash. So how did the victims get the money out of the banking system, that the banking system did not flag it? Up to the last time, I know that in Nigeria, companies have a ceiling of how much cash they can take, just as individuals have a ceiling of how much cash they can take at once. So if people are going to banks to collect cash, assuming I have the wherewithal now, as an individual, I go to the bank today to collect 5 million. Tomorrow again, I go and collect another 5 million. When the bank flag it that, what is this man doing? Why is he collecting cash? How is he collecting it? So all these trillion that were paid as ransom, I believe very strongly that the banking network have connection with it.
Really?
Banking, our bankers must also be watched very carefully and questioned. How do people get cash to pay ransom? Yes, the government has said people should not pay ransom. I don't know how wise that is, because if the government cannot protect its people, and you are now telling people whose family members have been kidnapped that they shouldn't pay ransom. If they can afford it, they will pay. The government should block that loophole. So when people pay 2.2 trillion, not billion, trillion in 1 year, you ask yourself, in 1980 what, Babangida gave an interview as Nigeria's military president then. He gave an interview to Daily Times. He wondered why Nigeria economy has not collapsed, which led the Mr. Bayo Onanuga then of African Concord to do a cover story, which led to the closure of Concord, and you know the story. I still ask myself, if 2.2 trillion was paid as ransom in Nigeria in 1 year, and the banking system has not flagged it that this money is going, it means that money is outside the banking sector now, as we are talking. So rather than block that loophole, why is the central bank trying to punish people to say they can't get more than 20,000? The 20,000, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 or whatever that people withdraw from banks is not the problem of Nigerian banks. It is the millions and billions that are taken out, either in naira or in dollar terms. So the federal government, the central bank, must look inwards. The banking system is the problem that we are having. The banking sector has a hand in all these anomalies. I can say that with all confidence. And anybody that wants to prove to me that the banking sector doesn't have a hand in this anomaly, so please come out and show us the books.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Olayinka. Emeka Madnago, while Dr. Olayinka believes that the banking system have a hand in this, looking at the reports that was given, and just in 1 year, we're recording in trillions. Tell me the effects this will have on those who are involved in this business. And what measures can our security operatives now put in place? Because Dr. Olayinka have held on to the banking sector having a hand. Now, what role do our security operators play to actually allow this now become a booming business? Because if they believe they could make such high returns in trillions in 1 year, definitely there should be an effect, and there should be a target come 2025.
Okay, thank you. The effect is part of what you're saying. Cash scarcity. 1. 2, the security, this kind of money, I think the money is actually even understated. Because in one incident alone, the Kaduna train kidnapping, over 1 billion naira was paid. If you remember, some people paid 200 million, some people paid 100 million. You know, and it was in the full glare of the world. And the federal government purportedly couldn't do anything. It was a lie. That thing was orchestrated at the highest level. That's why they could not do anything about that bombing. That's why the federal government pretended they could not locate those criminals and get them dealt with. How come that the same criminals, Dogo Gide and the rest of them, those terrorists, you know, who throughout the tenure of Muhammadu Buhari for 8 years, they couldn't do anything? How come under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, federal government has suddenly started tracing those Kachala and the rest of them and putting them out of business? What has happened? How is that money raised? In the north, through, you know, farmers are taxed regularly. And then when they are kidnapped, you know, of course, because they are predominantly farmers, so they exchange grains for loans. And these loans are at exorbitant rates. Recently, I saw a post by a pastor somewhere, I don't remember, somewhere in southern Nigeria, where the pastor said was, you know, he sent a message to somebody, person happened on social media, that he said he remembers that recently he and his wife were kidnapped, and I think they sold their property and other things, and, you know, to pay the ransom. And that the creditors, the people who raised that money for him, are on his neck to pay the money. That please, the person should help, whatever he can do. President now said, look at the effect of kidnapping on Nigeria. So many families have been traumatized. There are people who have not even seen their family members up to today. The retired Anglican Archbishop of Nnewi, who was kidnapped with his driver over 11 days ago, they've not been found. Both of them have not been found. Efforts have been made. That is why the government of Anambra State has rolled out measures. They said by January they are going to wipe out agitation and kidnapping from Anambra State. They're actually in the forest in Orumba North and South and in Ihiala. They are going to wipe out all those fellows. Enough of all this nonsense. Listen, you are agitating over something that has not brought any result to us. You have opened a window for criminals, kidnappers, terrorists, organ harvesters to terrorize the community. And you say you are agitating for a separatist state. Utter nonsense, if you permit that. Because what you're doing is that you're just traumatizing the people. The ordinary people, you're just traumatizing them. And this must stop. And it's good. So the other governments all over the nation should take a cue from Lagos State, which has really been silently dealing with all this kidnapping and all that. One chance robbery and all, dealing with them.
So how do you think they have been able to succeed in taking care of that?
Yes, intelligence-driven, security, whereby you utilize the youths, make good use of the youths, make good use of all these market women, traders, transport operators, bus conductors, agberos, make traditional rulers, hunters. These people, the Lagos government started this idea of, if you see something, say something. Build up a message, in different languages, disseminate them. Keep on saying that kidnapping is evil. Now, the Anambra State government has said that if kidnappers, agitators are found in any building, the government will demolish that property and take over that land. Then if any kidnap victim is kept in any place, government will take over that property. If you start doing that, Mr. Peter, when he was governor of Anambra, he started doing it. There was a hotel where he demolished. People said, "Oh, are you high-handed? You are this." Look, if it takes being high-handed to put a stop to this thing, let government be as high-handed as possible, because otherwise, these people want to force us out of this nation, and this is the only nation we have. Okay, they are just criminals, and they should be treated as criminals.
Thank you, Meka Madnag. You said something, see something, say something. Now, in a country where some whistleblowers have actually not been protected by some of the laws and policies, now coming down to the common Nigerians, let me use that word, and you tell them to see something and say something, and definitely when there's people, because they have people in the high and mighty that would actually tend to bring about their release, how would they be protected in a country where those who would see the something and say something are not protected, or there's no law, or there's nothing to actually keep them safe? How would they confidently say something and say something?
That's a good question. I understand there's a whistleblower bill before the National Assembly.
Sure.
And I hope the National Assembly will fast track action on it. Of course, when something affects politicians and people in power, they foot drag on it. Because if you have a law, like you said, protecting whistleblowers and all of that, a lot of what we see in this country, a lot of corruption and all of these things will fizzle out. Then, also, you need the buy-in of the community. You need the buy-in of people around to be able to deal with crime. Because you also have to look at the involvement of rogue security officers, policemen, DSS, name it, customs and all that. This man, Fisa Soyombo, the investigative journalist, Foundation for Investigative Journalism, I think the director, he has been releasing, things, information about some of these things. Allegations about official, the involvement of security agencies in smuggling and, in oil theft. Just recently, he was arrested by the army. I didn't even know he identified himself, but he was still arrested. And then he said that all the information he gave to the army during interview, during interrogation, found his way to the oil tips. So how do you now? You see, we must, one of the things, when we teach our children civics in school, we must actually develop national values and instill them in our children. Then there must be a booklet that anybody joining the civil service or security services or going into any political position should have and should sign. In that booklet must be a list of national values. I will not steal money in public office. I will not engage in kidnapping. I will not engage in ritual. I will not this, I will not that. Let that booklet and let them sign it. That I agree that if I am found culpable, I should face the due process of the law. That will, to a large extent, curb this recklessness. You know, when people feel going into public office or being in a position in security services, you can use it to trample on the rest of people, loot the treasury recklessly, and just make a mess of the nation. We must deal with this kidnapping scourge.
All right, thank you so very much. Doctor, just before we wind up for today, Emeka made profound statements, and one of them is the fact that the southern part of Nigeria had been able to maybe possibly dealt with issues of kidnapping to some extent, where he talked about the Lagos state as a case study and other parts of the southeast of Nigeria. Conversely, within the northern part of Nigeria, they are not thinking in the same line. They're not thinking in the same line. In fact, the Minister of Defense, the Minister for State for Defense, has been, alleged to be one-on-one, issues like that with all of that. And so how do you think the northern part of Nigeria can really save Nigeria, by dealing with insurgency, just like it's been dealt with in the southern part of the country?
In all honesty, what is happening in the north is a travesty. And most of these people, they know them. They know themselves. They know those people who are involved in this. When former President Goodluck Jonathan wanted to tackle Boko Haram headlong, it was some northern governors and northern leaders who teamed against him and saying that they want to start killing our children. And what do they have? It boiled down to what we have today. So what I will say, the northern governors, northern leaders, they know all these people. I don't want to always give that example, but let me just say, because when former President Obasanjo was president of Nigeria, Gani Adams, the same Gani Adams who is now Waronafo, used to run riots with OPC. When there's any problem with among and Hausa people Trading.
Okay, I think we're having some bit
of he's fighting Yoruba interest. He was not going to do anything to him. So northern leaders must also not talk when people are dealing with their people who are defiant. They must cooperate with government to deal with their deviants so that they
all right, Doctor, I think we're having a bit of a technical issue there. The network is frustrating. Okay, if you're there, if it's okay, you can continue if that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. I think the government must, the northern governors must come clean on this.
All right. All right, thank you so very much, Emeka. Just before we draw up the anchor, you talked about the southeast of Nigeria. There's this pressure, even if it's prescribed, a pressure, a subset of the IPOB called Omoma.
You mean the autopilot?
Yes, the autopilot, yes. They're called outlaws. Exactly. You see them most times in rural, remote forests in the southeast of Nigeria. Yes. Funnily, this Omoma sect are protected by the community most of the time. because the community are aware that they are in those places, but because there's the ideology that they are fighting for the interest of the Igbo people, they get to protect them. How do you think the Southeast, that should know better, how do you think they should reconscientize their people to understand that what they are doing is really not a good one?
No, you see, there's nothing wrong in agitating for self-determination. The only lacuna is that it's not in the Constitution. The 1999 Constitution has amended, which, of course, the National Assembly has been asked to consider putting it in the Constitution. Now, when you're going about self-determination, it must be within the ambit of the law, not by killing your people, not by killing security agencies, not by burning police stations, not by burning their vehicles. No. You don't do that. That is, you have become an outlaw when you do those things. Now, you are no more talking about fighting for self-determination. What you are doing is that you are engaging in separatism. There are two different things. Asking for self-determination is that, we would like to set up our own territory, an independent nation. But separatism is that we want to operate by a different set of laws within a sovereign nation. And that cannot... That's what I have told a lot of people. It's not acceptable. Because in the end, all of us will become victims. Then the people whose support you even need, critical support you need, they will not buy into your initiative because their own lives will be at risk. So what you got to do is this. First of all, you have representatives in the National Assembly. There's an ongoing process of constitutional amendment. Push it. Let there be a clause on self-determination, one. Secondly, on the issue of security, you see, the sad thing is that there are people who applaud what these guys are doing. I've met such people. And I tell them, I say, it's because you or a member of your family, maybe your wife or your husband or your child, has not been gunned down by these fellows, or your brother or sister has not been gunned down by these fellows. That is why you're supporting it. I said, I pray it doesn't happen to you. Then it will, the reality will come to you that, look, what these guys are doing, these guys are playing criminals. They are cultists. They are outlaws. These guys are just hiding. Even IPOB has come out to say they are not a part of it. They've disowned Simon Ekpa, who said he was a content creator. You are instigating the killing of people, and you say it's content creation. Well, let the judicial process in Finland take its course, so that he will understand that content creation does not give you the right to instigate violence, instigate the killing of people. Organ harvesting. That's why Lagos State government has passed a law now on organ harvesting. The interesting thing is that Lagos State government always leads the way. Other states will be sleeping until Lagos State government passes a law. Then they suddenly wake up. Oh, this is good. It's good to pass this law. I hope states in the Southeast will lead with that. That organ harvesting. Then the other thing is this. While you are dealing with this agitator, you should also look at the headers. These headers, terrorists masquerading as headers who are causing problems. Like somewhere in Imo State they call Agua. There are reports that these headsmen have been causing problems, kidnapping people, attacking the people. So there must be concerted effort to read everywhere. Anybody living in the forest will be flushed out.
Thank you so much, Emeka.
All right, we'll just have to go due to our time. I would have loved we continue, but we just have to, drop the anchor here. Thank you so very much, Dr. Olayinka Oyebile, for being part of our show today. We truly do appreciate you. Emeka Madunago, thank you so
much.
So much. Thank you.
All right, people, that's the time we have. I'd love to say thank you to you, but please do well to visit us. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. Also like and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Ikwebike.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bright and early.